to take a look at some early line movement and how the market is reacting to these early lines for the Sweet 16. Our weekly visitor here on Mondays at this time, it is Josh Appelbaum. Follow him on Twitter at Josh_insights. Make sure to check out VSiN Morning Bets. Great way to start your day in the podcast world. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to Josh's podcast. All right, Josh, let's start off with some early line movement and games that have piqued your interest. A game that we just wrapped up talking about last hour was the game here in Las Vegas on Thursday night. UCLA and Gonzaga. Gonzaga gets the win, does not get the cover. Some late moment antics there. Got TCU the late second cover, 84-81. And UCLA, similar, didn't get the cover, but was able to beat Northwestern 68-63. We've seen some early line movement here with UCLA. So what has the market said to you, and is there a play to be made, in your opinion, regarding UCLA and Gonzaga?
Yeah, Tim and Shaun, it's great to be with you. And again, looking toward this game, guys, this is really fascinating for a couple reasons. Number one, the public is split right down the middle. Obviously, we have the Zags, the number 3 seed here, UCLA number 2. But what we're looking at is an undecided public, which I think this week it's a little bit different, unlike kind of the madness of, those 4 consecutive days, the 4 best sports betting days of the year, just, back to back to back to back. We have a little bit of a lag time here. So I think once you get deeper into the tournament, this is when really, almost the NFL mentality of what have you done for me lately? What's the lasting impression that I've had of this team? The public, really, they're not going to bet these games quite this early in the week. I think they're going to wait a little bit here as we get closer to Thursday. But it's really important to me what the initial move, where that goes. So if you look at our betting data right now, it's a 50-50 bet split. Public doesn't know what to do. Again, they'll have their say as we get deeper and closer to the game. What we do have is some line movement toward UCLA. UCLA actually opened as a very short 1.5 point neutral site favorite. We've seen UCLA now get up to -2. So theoretically, in a vacuum, 50-50 bet split, line shouldn't move at all. However, we have seen this adjustment toward UCLA. Tells me that more of the respected money, as soon as this line dropped, did hit UCLA here. Using our VSiN.com bet splits, really good discrepancy between bets and dollars. The tickets are down the middle, guys, 50-50, but UCLA is getting 67% of the money. So that kind of jives with, when I'm using these betting percentages, I'm looking for the line to be moving toward the team getting the higher share of money. That's kind of a basic indicator of that team taking in sharp action. So that would lead me to believe that UCLA laying the points, a short money line play. Obviously, we saw the what happened there at all the different sports books across America, but of course at Circa with that TCU meaningless 3 for some, but very important for others. To me, that's why I like to money line a lot of these short favorites. Like, I'd be looking UCLA in the money line. I'm not going to let a put back, or maybe they're down by 1 and they hit a 2 to win the game. With such a short number, the books are telling us it's going to be a really tight game. So just to protect yourself a little bit, you're getting UCLA around -135. That's where I would lean, guys. A couple things here. Singleton, he's not their best leading scorer or anything, but this is a upperclassman who's been pretty consistent, good shooter. He left with an ankle sprain. I just saw a report that he seems to be okay. So give it a couple of days, he should be able to play. Also a rest advantage. These kids, obviously, 18, 19 years old. It's not really as important as is with professionals to get extra rest. But to me, it's more game plan, more film time. So UCLA played on Saturday. Gonzaga played that late game on Sunday. So that's a one-day rest advantage for UCLA. Ken Pom, by the way, does have UCLA winning the game by 3 points. So that kind of coincides with and jives with this line move toward UCLA. Obviously, Gonzaga is the better offensive team, but defensively, I think that's where UCLA can maybe take control of this game and really keep it as a lower scoring game. That's to their favor. They're only giving up 58 points a game. Zags are giving up almost 80 points a game. Also, guys, keep an eye on the total. It's really fascinating. Zags played a really fast speed tempo. UCLA is much slower. Total's 145.5. Really hasn't moved at all. 65% of bets are going over here. So we have seen so far unders have been great. You did have a regression day yesterday where overs went 6-2, but still overall, you have these unders 35-17, 67%. But based on the early move, tickets are even. The line's going to UCLA, guys. I'm going to give it a couple more days here. But if you're making me pick the game right now, I'd be going UCLA on the money line.
Yeah, did you watch the game live when Singleton got hurt?
I saw him, at the end of the game, and it looked pretty bad, Shaun, but apparently it's not that bad, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this was the most Hollywood thing ever. He went all Paul Pierce, Dwayne Wade getting the wheelchair.
Bring out the wheelchair, yeah.
Like, he's on the ground. He's reeking. I mean, he's wiggling. The bench players got tears in their eyes. I'm like, over a sprained ankle? I might have to take Gonzaga just off of that. But everything you said analytically was 100% accurate, Josh.
Yeah. As this week goes on, I mean, Gonzaga, as you saw in the second half, what they're capable of offensively, but defensively they can be had, and UCLA is a very, very tough defensive team. Well, staying here in Las Vegas, that is the nightcap on Thursday. The early game pits Arkansas, the 8 seed, against UConn. Arkansas, it looks like, at least per the market, getting some early respected money because this number opened 4 down to 3.5. So what are your numbers and what have your read been so far on Arkansas UConn, which is the early game on Thursday at 7:15 Eastern?
Yeah, Tim, it's hard not to take the points here with Musselman's crew. Again, they've been to 2 straight Elite Eights. They're on their way to, maybe if they win this game, going to another one here. But based on what the market's doing, this looks like just a very classic reverse line move. You have about 60% of bets going with UConn here. However, we've actually seen this line drop toward Arkansas. This game opened UConn laying 4. You're now down to 3.5. Now, some of these books at 3.5 are juiced up. Like, it may creep up back to 4. And I think that's something that a lot of bettors need to be conscious of over the next few days. An early move and then maybe some buyback. Is it a head fake? Where does it move from there? So to me, I'm going to hold out to see if I can get that 4 again. I'd be looking toward Arkansas on the points here, guys. Majority bets on UConn. If the line is falling to Arkansas, this would be another rest advantage situation here with obviously, Arkansas playing the day before in this spot. Again, Musselman has been a guy who's been a great motivator here. And at some, if he wins, he takes his shirt off. I thought there was an age limit on taking your shirt off here when you're on national television, but apparently not. When you win, you can do whatever you want. But this guy, to me, is super impressive as a coach. He has the experience of getting deep into the tournament, and he can play this card of nobody believes in us. We're the dog. They're in the same spot here, guys, against Kansas. They won 72-71. They're getting 4.5 points. We've seen UConn really roll through both of their games thus far, winning pretty easily, covering these numbers pretty easily. The fact that you have the experience of Musselman and the public on UConn, but the line going to Arkansas, I'd be looking toward Arkansas here. If you look at, in particular, in March Madness, a dog with a line move in your favor. Over the last 4 March Madnesses, those teams are about 57% against the spread covering the number. And you mentioned it, Tim. This is a primetime game. Should be around 7:15. When you get to those primetime games and there are fewer games to choose from, it's going to be a public play to UConn. So the fact that UConn's the public play, but line's going to Arkansas, I'll hold out for a 4, but I'm leaning toward Arkansas on the points. And also, guys, we have seen, again, unders were incredible. What was it, that Friday, Tim? They were 14-2 to the under.
14-2.
Yeah, imagine if you just put a unit on every under that day. You'd be paying for everyone's drinks that day.
Somebody.
But I would just say, Tim, keep an eye. This one did tick up a little bit. I saw some books 139 up to around 139.5, 140. Only 61% of bets on the over, but almost 80% of the money. UConn is number 3 in adjusted offensive efficiency. Both teams about 75 points a game. So it's tough to take any kind of overs right now, but you saw some regression. I don't think the sports books are really going to allow these unders to continue to cash. They're going to start to drop these lines quite a bit. Keep an eye for the over there, but I like Arkansas on the points.
The San Diego State-Alabama game moved initially off the open 2 points to the under, and now over money has come in, so that number is actually back to where it opened, and actually slightly ahead of where it opened at some spots at 137.5. We're talking to Josh Appelbaum. Make sure to check out VSiN Morning Bets. Great podcast to start your day. Wherever you get your podcast, subscribe to that podcast. And you can follow Josh on Twitter at Josh_insights. Also on Thursday, all the games you want to hit on Thursday, we go to Madison Square Garden. Michigan State, the 7 seed in the East region. They take down Marquette yesterday, slight underdog victory. And Kansas State, also an underdog, they get the victory as well. So they will meet. And right now, Michigan State is laying 2 against the Purple Cats of Kansas State. So once again, it looks like, that early movement has been on Michigan State in this spot, despite the fact that they're the 7 seed in this game.
Yeah, Tim, you hit the nail on the head here. The line's going to Michigan State. Normally, you get into a time machine, Tom Izzo, March, the line going in his favor. That's really not a surprise, because of the great experience and history that Izzo can get his teams to go deep into March Madness. But this one is a surprise because, as you mentioned it, 7 seed Michigan State, 3 seed K-State. Why is the line going to the 7 seed? Shouldn't the line be going to the 3 seed? And even if you look before the line movement, this game opened at pretty much a pick 'em. So right at the outset, the odds makers were telling us this is going to be a very tight game here. And what I love is kind of this reverse line move to a contrarian favorite here. So this would be what's shaping up to be a contrarian play and they fade the trendy dog situation, Tim. And Sean, we look at these dogs. To me, it's the gross ones that, you look at Tennessee against Duke. They're getting like 15% of bets. They pull off the upset. So it's not quite as lopsided as that game.
Old stuff?
But just to prove a point, when it gets super lopsided, go the other way. But I don't know if you were on Duke. I didn't mean to hurt you there, Sean.
On Saturday?
I'm
I wasn't
a
aware.
diehard Duke fan, Josh.
No.
Pour salt in the wound.
Fair weather Duke.
My
fan.
apologies.
My bad. I didn't mean to
apologies,
interrupt.
Sean.
My bad. Go
Fair
ahead.
weather
Finish
Duke
up.
fan.
No, I take it back. Just reference, the point of 85% on one side. I like the 15% side. Not quite as lopsided. I'm sorry, Sean. But 2/3 of bets here on K-State. Yet the line's going to Michigan State. Why is the line going to Sparty if they're the unpopular play here? Only 35% of bets, almost 50% of the money. The experience of Izzo, defense that they play. Again, to me, if this continues to stay a short favorite toward Michigan State, this is going to be money line play. And guys, this looks like a sharp under. Open 139.5 down to 137.5. Slow tempo, neutral court. I'd lean under. But give me Sparty there as a fade the trendy dog.
He is Josh Appelbaum. We never fade him. At Josh_insights. Josh, always a pleasure, man. We'll talk to you next week.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry, Sean. I didn't mean to say that.
No, it was intentional. I know it was.
You want to do your chant again? Your Duke chant?
No,
I wasn't sure if you...
Can a man mourn?
Did they win?
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.